We speak about relational deformities, not a cozy word. But it looks like this. I'm going to have trouble doing this with the mic. If intimacy looks like this meets this. Relational deformities look like this. This meets this. My particular quirk meets your particular set of quirks to bring about the vicious cycle that keeps hurting us. For example, here's a typical relational deformity. Angry pursuit. How many of you have ever encountered angry pursuit? Angry pursuit. God damn it, get your butt out of that chair, get yourself over here and love me now. Does that work very well? But we see it all the time. It's a relational deformity. It's a stance that will not work. And probably that engenders a reciprocal stance that locks it in. I think that the essence of what's going on can be summed up in one sentence. The change of women's roles in the 20th and 21st century is one of the great historic stories of our time. It is truly a revolution. Women have changed culturally, women have changed economically, women have moved into the workforce. And I believe that, and this is not dissing men or criticizing men, but there simply has not been a commensurate change in the role of men as there has been in the role of women over the last century. Women have changed, and so far, by and large, men have not.
I know that each and every one of you sitting here today has a comparable story about impacting someone's life after hours. It might be a family member, a friend, or even a complete stranger. That's because we are passionate about helping people have loving relationships, and we're passionate for a reason. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why you do what you do? Is there anyone sitting here who chose to work with couples because you couldn't think of anything else to do? Was it simply a random choice? I suspect not. We're all here for a very good reason. Something happened in your life or in the lives of people you love that influenced your career choice. Your life experiences have warped you in particular ways, and those experiences have everything to do with not only your decision to work with couples, but what you actually do when you work with them.
We are often asked to help people. We're often, and one of the ways that this sometimes looks is you get a couple coming in, and one of them, and it can be either partner. I don't find a lot of gender differences in this. You know, one partner comes dragging the other one in, and hi doc, this person doesn't want to have a lot of sex with me, so would you please help us so that this person will want to have more sex with me? And then I ask this person, how do you enjoy the sex? Because I figure that if this person doesn't want to have sex very much, they're probably not very enthusiastic. I don't know if you've ever had sex with a person who's not very enthusiastic. It's... So I say, well, how do you enjoy the sex? And the person says, well, it's kind of... And I say, well, if the sex is kind of... why do you want more of it?
Our face conveys cues to the other, and our face actually, we're literally wearing our heart on our face. And this is not merely a simple metaphor that you've heard. This is true to its underlying neurophysiology. And this is part of the polyvagal theory, because the neural regulation of the face, especially the upper part of the face, where all these subtle cues are coming from, the neural regulation of that is linked to a vagal pathway to your heart that calms you down. Okay? And that system is also linked to the ability to be prosodic in your voice, to be melodic, and it triggers the middle ear muscles. You're going to get the whole talk in a few seconds now. It triggers the middle ear muscles, something that no one ever thinks about or talks about. The middle ear muscles to dampen background sounds so that you can only hear human voice or hear human voice with a great advantage.
So these three key challenges, which of course sound simple but are the work of at least one lifetime, are: one, the challenge of pure listening, of wholehearted listening. That is listening with the intention only to understand and without defensiveness. And then 2, the challenge of differentiation of self, to be able to define who one is. This is what I think, this is what I feel, these are the things I will and will not do, which includes taking a bottom line position. Very difficult in marriage, a position which is not negotiable under relationship pressures. And 3, the simple challenge of observing and changing one's own part in stuck relationship patterns, in both the couple relationship and in family of origin relationships. From a systems perspective, navigating family of origin relationships and finding one's voice is one of the royal roads to having a better couple relationship.
How do we feel determines whether we become friends, lovers, or enemies. Our feelings are dependent upon physiological state, and I'm emphasizing the autonomic nervous system. And love and intimacy require turning off our biobehavioral defense systems to feel safe and to enable proximity and physical contact. And it's that last statement that I think resonates with much of the work that you do. That many of the people coming to you are coming to you because of issues of love and intimacy and basic trust. And what they're really saying to you is they're having great difficulty in turning off their defense systems. And if they can't turn off the defense systems, they'll not feel safe and they'll not be close.
I also think that we should realize that affairs and infidelity are not the same thing. We often use those words interchangeably, but technically an affair is a relationship, a sexual or physical relationship between two people who are not married to each other. And infidelity really has much more to do with breaking the expectation of loyalty, truthfulness, honesty, when there's a reason to expect truthfulness and honesty. And I think that one of the really hard things about an affair and infidelity is that one partner in a relationship unilaterally decides to break an equilateral agreement the two people have made. And once that's broken, you don't know what other decisions that person will decide to unilaterally break again. And so that becomes the challenge.
Challenge number 1, normalizing your response and surviving the job. My rabbi, Rabbi Stein, once gave a sermon on the noble and challenging work of caregivers. It's hard, he said, almost unimaginably hard, to be a caregiver. For when you care for someone whose mind and body have been greatly diminished by illness, your life is consumed by it, and there's little relief and respite. You must struggle against exhaustion, he said, against self-pity, against resentment, and a host of other emotions that no one who has not gone through what you're going through can ever begin to understand.
So curling, the analogy is you're sweeping right in front of the stone. You have to pay such close attention to where they are, the clients, that you have to sweep open possibilities right in front of them. If you have a different agenda and you say, okay, tell me about your childhood, and that's not where they are. Tell me about your parents' relationship, and that's not where they are. You're sweeping in a way that doesn't make any difference for the stone. You want to open up a path right in front of them. And what I've discovered, having used this stuff, and I'll tell you some methods of doing this for a long time, is the couples will tell you when they're ready to change. How? They'll stop complaining about the other and about the relationship and about the past so much, and they'll start talking about what they want and what could happen. They'll start giving hopeful, things that they'll tell you rather than just the complaints and how bad it is.
So these are typical strategies with poor and conflicted couples. One of the interesting things about these strategies is that they violate one of our basic principles that we claim we adhere to, when it comes to working with couples, which is don't take sides and look at things as a system. So here are some of the things that I think are missing from conventional ways of dealing with pornography, whether it's with couples or with singles, but especially with couples. Number one, dealing with the couple's sex life. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the couple's sex life, except to say that if you wouldn't watch so much porn, of course you would have sex with your significant other. But we need to really be talking about the erotic contract. What is the understanding that a couple has about what sex is going to consist of, and how much do they aspire to do it, and under what circumstances? And we need to assess, does a couple have, what kind of erotic infrastructure do they have?